All right, let's get to it. It's the Friday night edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. We haven't done Weather Geeks on a Friday since the beginning of football season, but now that we're a couple of weeks into the playoffs, our 11 o'clock news will be more news-focused, less football-focused tonight with only, I think, 6 games to cover, so no half days for me anymore on Fridays. I am back to full-time on Fridays for the rest of the year. All right, let's talk weather. We'll make this video a little shorter than usual since it's a Friday night and the weather is quieting down. The cold remains, of course, the real big story. Unusually cold weather for this time of the year. Let's take a look at the last 20 hours before we start looking ahead. Temperatures kept dropping, of course, during the early morning hours, and they only bobbed up a couple of degrees during the daylight hours, and now they're really starting to tank this evening. Down to 20 at the airport at 7 p.m. We'll be in the teens before you know it. And while the wind is diminishing, the wind has been feisty enough to create some wind chills that have been mostly in the mid-teens, now in the lower teens. Might sneak down into the single digits before the night is through tonight. Time-lapse video from our weather camera in Niles shows the changeable conditions today. A little sun, then flurries, snow showers visited on a few occasions. As you can see, it really didn't stick here. As we advertised, the snow was pretty non-impactful, what there was out there. All right, real quickly, today is the 15-year anniversary of the F2 tornado in Mercer County back on November 10th, 2002. Unfortunately caused a lot of damage and even some loss of life in parts of Mercer County back in 2002. This is a radar snapshot from early that evening showing the pretty clear rotation right in through here around the Hermitage and Clark areas. Clark particularly hard hit. This tornado also, over here's the regular radar. This is rain-wrapped, as most tornadoes in our region are. We don't have the kind of tornadoes like they have out in the plains or like you saw in the movie Twister. When we get tornadoes around here, usually they're rain-wrapped. They're hard to see, especially in the dark. And unfortunately, this was a big problem. The EF2 tornado we had up in southeastern Ashtabula County on Sunday was the strongest tornado our immediate vicinity has seen since this tornado back in 2002 over in Mercer County. So hard to believe it's been 15 years since that big weather event back in 2002. All right, back here in the present. Again, in the 7 o'clock hour, upper teens, lower 20s. It's going to be a frigid night throughout the region. There's going to be tons and tons of records broken from eastern Ohio all the way into New England. Records are going to just fall rapidly tonight. And I tweeted this earlier. There's a chance if we get down below 16, if we drop to 15 right before midnight, we could do what I like to call a daily double. At 11:59, we could break today's record low, and then as the clock strikes midnight, we'll break tomorrow's record low. Certainly we're going to break tomorrow's record low at midnight. Question is, do we get below 16 at the last minute tonight? It could be a close call, but either way, the record for tomorrow morning is going to be shattered. It's not even going to be close. The record's 21. And we'll be down closer to 13 by tomorrow morning. Pretty good radiational cooling conditions tonight as high pressure slides over the Great Lakes and into New England. If we had a fresh snowpack, if this were January and we had 5 inches of snow on the ground, we'd get well below zero tonight. But we don't have the snow on the ground, so the radiational cooling conditions, while great, are not totally ideal because we don't have snow on the ground, but they're good enough. Clear sky, the wind is letting up, and a fresh Arctic air mass overhead. Big picture for your Saturday. 37, that's the best we can do. That's 14 below average. Again, the record low tomorrow. We'll set a new one. We'll breeze past that very quickly at midnight tonight. 10 hours and a minute worth of daylight tomorrow. And if November ended today, and of course it's not going to, it's only a third over, this would be the 15th warmest and 48th wettest November on record. The temperatures and precipitation insignificant so far this month, pretty middle-of-the-road stuff. We'll probably drop below average for our monthly temperatures here in a couple of days. All right, again, high pressures overhead now. Now tomorrow, it's going to be a pretty classic-looking winter day. And what I mean by that is the sun is going to be dimmed. You'll be able to see it in behind the clouds. There's going to be a veil of high, thin cirrus clouds up at 20, 30,000 feet above our heads. And at this time of the year, the sun angle's so low that those clouds can really make a difference. So it's going to be an uneventful day tomorrow, but it's not going to be bright and sunny. In fact, the sun will be dimmed quite a bit by those high, unproductive clouds. The clouds will be a little more productive on Sunday, especially late in the day. Touch of rain, touch of rain can stick around into Monday morning. You don't see much on the model here, but there could be some drizzle falling out of that stuff Monday morning. Weekend forecast, again, 37 tomorrow, up to 43 on Sunday, both temperatures below average. The nights will not be as cold, so not as harsh as today and tonight as we go into the weekend. Here's the 7-day temperature trend showing while we do climb up closer to average and even a little above average by the end of next week, no stretches of unseasonably warm weather coming anytime soon. We're just going to climb out of the gutter here a little bit. We're going to climb out of the deep freeze as we go into the weekend and beyond. All right, 2 weeks from yesterday, Thanksgiving, and the pattern as we head into the week of Thanksgiving is looking pretty cold in the east. Is it as cold as it is now? I doubt it. But colder than average seems pretty likely in the week surrounding Thanksgiving. That's a big week for travel, and it's simply too early to talk about travel impacts and precipitation and things like that. But the general trends are pretty clear on most of the modeling, and that would be a warm in the west, cold in the east kind of a scenario. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Well, I was going to show you something in my browser, but it disappeared. So what I was going to talk about is real quickly the month of December, and I'll just verbalize it and then we'll wrap things up. Month of December remains a pretty hard forecast. A lot of signals for cold out there, indicating our initial December forecast, part of our winter forecast package, maybe too warm, but there are some models that are stubbornly hanging on to a pretty warm December. I tend to believe the colder ideas at this point, but we'll have more updates on December as we get into the second half of November. Let's worry about November 1st. And again, looks like a pretty chilly pattern overall for the next couple of weeks, including right around Thanksgiving. Thanks for tuning into Weather for Weather Geeks tonight. Have a great weekend, everyone. Check out Andrew and AJ's forecasts on 21 News this weekend, and I'll see you right back here on Monday.